Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lounging with Lisa, the video series that has me lounging while coming at you with thoughts of the day. I sent a picture of me to Perpatch, and he's like, oh, are you with my shorter hair? And he says, are you getting your hair cut? I'm like, it's already cut. We don't really pay attention to each other, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, let's face it. After 14 years, I feel like I'm exposing a bit too much of my body. I'm a very modest creature. I'm sorry, that cracked me up. Oh, I just got a stabbing pain in my head. I got to thinking about something because I mentioned it in another video about the Waltons. You can ask Judy. Usually when I go through a Waltons weekend, it's because there's something weighing heavily on my mind. I love the Waltons. In fact, the other night I wasn't feeling that well. Sometimes if I don't get my kratom dose right, it sets me into a little bit of sickness, ladies and gentlemen, frankly. So I did something I rarely do anymore. I threw myself down wildly on the bed and said, Joel, come hither. No, I did not. I threw myself down on the bed, in the bedroom, and I turned on the TV, which those are two things I rarely do, and watched an episode of the Waltons. There's like 200 and something of them recorded. But I remember Richard Thomas, the gentleman who played John Boy, did an interview once, and he made a lot of sense in this, and this is why I'm kind of drawn to that show. It's almost like there was something for everybody in that series. It was kind of dear. There was usually a lesson. It wasn't sugar-coated or any of that stuff that you hear about it. But they covered kind of, I think with each character, there was character development that showed a different type of person in everyday life, I guess. Like Grandpa Walton, Will Geer, played by Will Geer. He was your more sort of, I guess, for lack of a better description, sort of the hippie character, in touch with the earth, had a relationship with his God through the earth and things, more like what some might call a pagan type person, although he was, played a religious person on the show in his own way. And then politically, he would have been probably like what we would call a liberal. And then Grandma Walton, played by Ellen Corby. She, in my opinion, was kind of a right-winger. Like, she didn't want any of that New Deal shenanigans being handed out by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And, she kind of objected. She was, very conservative in her dress and very religious and stuck directly to the scripture and stuff like that. And then, of course, the father, played by Ralph Waite. Ralph Waite, yeah. He died a couple years ago. I think he is so attractive, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to tell you. That's my kind of guy. Rugged, sort of flawed. I don't like these pretty boys. And the hands, I love the hands. They're rough, and they worked with wood. I love Perpetual's hands. I do. So, yeah, he was just sort of your constant... I can't believe I'm going on about the Waltons. He was like the constant, what would he be? The calming influence, maybe, although he, flared up sometimes in the family, and he wasn't, he called himself a heathen, a hard worker, but very fair. That's what I liked about that character. Very fair. And then, of course, the mother. This is, okay, I just love it. Mrs. Walton, played by Michael Learned. Yeah. She, first of all, Michael Learned in real life was so beautiful. They had to kind of dull her down for the part, like put her in boring-looking dresses, and she just was so beautiful no matter what they tried to do to make her more average-looking or something. But she was anti-war. Now, I don't know if she'd be called like a liberal, but I mean, she was definitely... I think there was like a hint of feminism to her character. And yet she didn't mind the traditional roles. I don't either, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I have to tell you, I don't mind traditional roles if that's what you want to do. Roles. If Perpetual wants to be the breadwinner and I cook and clean and sew. I don't really want to do all that stuff, though, so I, kind of make my own way. But I don't object to it or think it's terrible in any way, shape, or form at all. In fact, I think that the traditional roles have been a little demonized, honestly. Okay, that's all another subject. And then, of course, John Boy was sort of like the romantic lead, if you will, which was different for that particular, the years when the show was on, I think 72 to 83, something like that. Something along those lines. He wasn't your basic hunk or anything like that, but he was intellectually stimulating and cared about humanity. And I don't know how I would identify him in like a political sense, really. Just a sense of fairness, a sense of justice, definitely. The character of John Boy showed that. And really cared about his family. And yet he got a wild hair every now and again and could let loose and have fun. So those are the characters I'm going to go over right now at this time. I'm sure, I doubt that I'm going to pick it up and go over Mary Ellen and Jason and all those. I might, who knows. But I just think it's, the Waltons offers a little something for everybody. And we can be taken back to a time when really, I know life was very difficult for people during the Great Depression of the 30s. But country folk, to use a bizarre saying, they, I think it took them a little longer to recover from the Depression, but during it, they could grow their own food and the community could help one another and stuff like that. I think there was kind of a bonus to being a country person during this time. My mother, of course, came up during that time, and so did my father. But Dad's family had money, so they didn't really suffer a whole lot. My mom's family was poor, so. All right, signing off, Lounging with Lisa, the video series that evidently has me bloviating on the delightful aspects of the Waltons. Not the Waltons that own Walmart.